Welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melisa Caprio. Do you believe in magic? What if you were told that all you had to do was get a little creative and work a magic spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Here on Postcards to the Universe, we will share manifesting, tips, postcards, creativity, abundance, and prosperity. Here is your host, Melisa Caprio.
Hello and welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melisa, creating the life you crave. Happy New Year, everyone. I can't believe it's 2022. Where has the time gone? How's everybody doing? I hope everyone had a wonderful New Year. We are in some very interesting times, but at least we are all in it together. I'm excited about my guest today. I have transformational coach Vince Cramer on, and I'm going to bring Vince out here in just a few minutes. For those of you who are tuning into my show for the first time in 2022, I still can't believe it's 2022, my goodness. I am also a photographer and an author, and I have a book, and it's titled Postcards to the Universe, Harness the Universe's Power and Manifest Your Dreams. And in my book, there are 30 manifesting stories along with the photographs that I took of the contributors' manifesting postcards, which are kind of like vision boards, little mini vision boards. I include in the book their stories, and of course I have writing exercises to help us get clear on what we want to manifest, and a toolbox full of fun exercises on how to manifest love, money, health, career, and much more, which is perfect for the start of a new year. If you're interested in doing inner work exercises and reading people's incredible journeys of transformation, inspiration, and manifesting, you can find my book on your favorite online bookstore, or it's also in physical bookstores. Each week, I share a Magic Monday message, and it's an image that I took of a manifesting postcard with an affirmation, and I like to focus on a new affirmation for a week, and using affirmations daily is a powerful way to become a new belief in our lives. And I'm going to continue with this tradition through 2022, but this first week I just wished us all a happy and prosperous new year, because that's what we all want, right? Happy and prosperous. I don't do resolutions, but I do either have a word or a phrase or a theme for the new year. And this year's is, I declare 2022 a year of living fabulously. What that will look like, I have no idea. I have some exciting plans for the new year, but I'm open to wonderful surprises. So what is your word or declaration for the new year? It's a fabulous time to create a manifesting postcard and send it to me. What do you want to bring into your life this year? Create a postcard around it. And if you need help, just reach out to me and I will help you. They are incredibly powerful. You can just ask the 30 people from my book. Okay, so next week I have Nicole Antoinette on, and she's a professional psychic medium and spiritual mentor, and she is going to share with us her journey next week. It's going to be a really exciting show, so please join me next week to hear Nicole. But to bring out my guest today, Vince Cramer, who's an airline pilot, a military veteran, transformational trainer and mentor, and clear conscious channel. Vince Cramer brings a unique experience to the world of transformation and purpose-driven growth. His past experience in a stereotypical macho field brings a more integrated perspective to the softer field of personal growth, not often seen. As a speaker, teacher, guide, and best-selling author of Mastering the Art of Success with Jack Canfield, Vince's distinct combination of experience, education, and research helps him develop powerful talks, workshops, and online training in finding happiness and success by living life by their design. A co-founder of Imagine Miracles, he passionately believes everyone is unique and the creator of their own life. It is his desire to inspire and empower men, women, organizations, and families to find success and happiness by designing and creating a life fueled by their desires. He also has a podcast called The Miracle You, where I was featured as a guest. It's a great show, so please go check it out. I am episode 131, titled Manifest Your Dreams. Welcome, Vince. Thanks so much for being here with me today.
Well, thanks for asking me to be here, Melissa. It's an honor to talk to the postcarders and to share with you
Thanks.
some of the excitement that I have found in life as I've uncovered some secrets that we haven't been taught in school.
Yes, I know you have. And it was great being on your show. I really enjoyed it. So people can also listen to that if they want to hear more of our conversation together. So you're all about empowerment and you're all about creating the life of your dreams. So what do you do each new year? Like, do you do a resolution? Do you have a theme for the new year? Do you do some kind of a ritual to bring in that new energy?
Well, my ritual for New Year's is a word, and the word for this 2022 year is hope. And it's more about what I can use my gifts and talents for to help bring to the world. So it's not me manifesting it and bringing it to me. It's how can I best bring that to the world.
I love that. And hope, we all need some hope right now. Definitely, for sure. The world feels like it's gone crazy sometimes, right? Just like,
That's for sure.
whoa. So why don't you share a little bit about you and your background and what brought you to this kind of work that you're doing now?
Well, at 5 years old, I knew I was supposed to be doing this work. That's the interesting
That's
thing. At
amazing.
5 years old, I told my grandmother that I wanted to help people love themselves so they could love each other. And where does that come from? From a 5-year-old, I have no idea. I honestly believe that I still at that point was tapped into the reason I came to Earth and the decision I made to come here. But I went on a journey, I'll be honest with you, quite a journey to finally realize that I had to wake up and to understand that I was here for so much more. And although I was extremely successful and making a difference in many ways, I wasn't making the difference that I was meant to make. And I was interesting as you were introducing me to think of a military officer. I haven't been in the military for many years now, but a military officer at one point, a commercial airline pilot at a major airline, and then you say conscious channel. And that's quite an interesting combination. And the journey to get there was one of following somebody else's rules pretty much my entire life, and then realizing that it was time to start following my rules. And my rules, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to do or be how you want, no matter how it affects everyone else. It's really, how was I going to be and what was I going to do that affected people in a positive manner, and to bring that 5-year-old's knowingness of I'm here to help people love themselves to the world.
Yeah, I want to talk about the other people's rules, because I know that's an area, a topic that you do talk about because we do live by other people's rules very often, and how we can shift that. But before we do jump into that, now when you were a military veteran and you were with your other people in the military, were you talking about this kind of stuff with them? Were you sharing what you were feeling and what you were thinking about the world inside, or no?
The interesting thing, I've always been a little different and mostly open, but this goes right back to what you said about talking about living someone else's rules. After that 5-year-old time frame, it wasn't long after that, about 2 years, where my grandfather started teaching me what it meant to be a man from a 1930s, 1940s, 1950s male perspective. And so he really taught me that, I shouldn't have this open heart. I shouldn't be soft. I should be the tough guy that out there competing against everyone. Pretty much what we taught our young men for the longest time. In many cases, we still teach that to the young men, but we're also teaching it to young women now. So those rules that that I first started following was the rules of my grandfather: compete, be number one, be the best at everything that you do. And I'm not saying those rules were bad, but they weren't in alignment with who I was totally. I think I still would have been the sports star. I think I would have still got my master's degree. I think I still would have flown airplanes in the military. But also the rules of big boys don't cry. You shouldn't have these emotions. You can't be angry. All the rules along the way really guided me to be, once again, very successful, but also to look for all my gratification, all my self-worth on the things that I accomplished, or the people that were in my life, or who I was better than. And through that whole experience, a lot of me got lost.
And, it's funny that you said that, big boys don't cry and stuff. And still in 2022, I still hear the term man up, be a man, don't show your emotions, don't cry. And we're still, in that same place in many ways. I mean, I know there's been a lot of progress, don't get me wrong. There definitely has been, but I still think that, especially for men, I feel like women are allowed to share. We're allowed to share our emotions more. We're given a kind of a pass. We can cry in public, and we're allowed to do that. But people still, if they see a man showing emotions, it still makes them uncomfortable. Like men don't have those feelings inside themselves, which I really think causes a lot of anger and frustration. Would you agree?
Well, definitely a lot of frustration across the board. And, the interesting thing is that as society, first of all, has come such a long way, but the collective's rules really control us in many ways also. But when you talk about, first of all, yes, I saw it just the other day in a department store where a young boy got grabbed, and in grabbing, I mean, it was nothing like the spankings of the past, but in the grabbing the boy, it was, you shouldn't be crying, stop it right now, boys don't cry. So, yeah, we already experienced that. But the interesting thing, what you shared, Melissa, in many ways, when females show their emotions, it's okay, because we look at sharing our emotions as being weak or weaker.
Right.
And
Good
and
point.
so there's still the stimulus, or the way that we look at things as a whole. We're still putting people in a box by saying, it's okay for a female to show emotion.
Yeah, that's true. And that goes back to your point that we live by society's rules or other people's rules. So you talk about how we can stop this or we can shift this. So what would you share with us about, for everyone who's listening right now, and they know who they are, the people that are following other people's rules, who are living by other people, what they can do to shift this energy for 2022 and for the rest of their lives, really?
Well, the first thing I want to share in that is a lot of the reason that we follow other people's rules is because we don't know where we're going ourselves. We don't know who we are, and in our being and doing, then we have to look on the outside in a lot of cases to, okay, well, this is how I'll be because I respect that person, or I like that person, or this is what I'll do because it seems to make money, or that person seems to be happy when they're doing it. So the first thing that we really need to do is get to know ourselves and to then learn to love that self in a way that now, okay, let's discover why we're here. Let's discover the energy that we're putting out into the world and how we affect people without even know it. Let's figure out why I learned to do this thing or that thing and develop this gift or that talent. So once we understand the who, what, and why of us, which we at Imagine Miracles calls our unique purpose, those three things together, now we can start deciding, well, this is how I want to show up in the world. This is the difference I want to make. What rules do I need for myself to follow that path, to be on that journey?
Yeah. A lot of people have no idea. That's the craziest thing. Like, you can ask someone, well, what is it that you want, or who do you want to be? And many people will say stuff like, well, I just want to be happy, or I just want joy. But to get beyond that, they really have no idea inside who they really want to be in the world, because they have been maybe living by society's rules for so long. So how can we help somebody who is scratching their head going, I have no idea?
Well, there's several different ways, and we have to really find our combination of ways to figure those three things out. When I say combination, because we're multidimensional, we can bring our guidance in. We can tap into the universe, like you share with the postcards. We can tap into our guidance in so many ways. As a conscious channel, I've learned, how to step out of the way and let guidance come through. So at Imagine Miracles, we help people learn how to bring their guidance in, how to hear their guidance in a way that makes them feel comfortable, first of all, that they've tapped into the guidance, but then to also trust that guidance. But then we also have to get our answers from the part of us that live in the 3D world too. So what's the answers that come from our personality or our ego? What's the answers that come from our subpersonalities or those alter egos? What answers come from them? What's the belief system that we built from our perceptions, but then also, like you shared, from the societal rules, not just laws, but the societal rules? What belief system do we build around that? So we can take the combination of those answers to support us in uncovering the reason that we're here, uncovering the energy that we put out into the world.
Okay, good. This is a perfect place to pause. Let's take our first break right now. And there's so much more I want to ask you when we come back. So everybody stay tuned, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes. Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hi, I'm Melisa Caprio from Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave. Do you believe in magic? What if I told you all you had to do was get a little creative and work a dream spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Well, guess what? I've got the spell for you. Postcards to the Universe, a global movement for manifestation, is a casting magical tool for you to use whenever you want. How does living in passion sound to you? Join me in my movement where you get to create in the magical playground. Let's think outside the box and do some playful conjuring. By casting out our desires with a manifesting postcard, we explore our hearts and allow the alchemy of our dreams to appear. And don't forget to tune in each week here on OMTimes Radio with my show, Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I share tips on creativity, abundance, and prosperity, and you will be introduced to the coolest guests, trailblazers, mystics, and creatives who enrich our lives.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
The rainbow is God's promise of hope for you and me. And though the clouds hang heavy and the sun we cannot see, we know above the dark clouds that fill the stormy sky, hope's rainbow will come shining through when the clouds have drifted by. Teresa Caprio is the president and founder of Rainbow Guardian Inc., a nonprofit 501c3 serving the intellectually challenged/developmentally disabled, including autism. Teresa started the foundation in 1995 so she could help make a better life for her intellectually challenged daughter. Her dream is that the Rainbow Guardian will provide the necessary tools and education to help the public understand the special needs population, because it's often discarded in mainstream society. To find out more or make a donation in support, please go to www.rainbowguardian.org. Rainbow Guardian's special mission is to see these unique people live a happy, full life and have a future of liberty and equality.
Welcome back. So if you're just joining me, I have transformational trainer, best-selling author, and co-founder of Imagine Miracles, Vince Cramer, on as my guest. And so Vince, I was thinking during the break, you talk about how we can combine, and I really like this, combining science and spirituality to live the life that we're meant to live. So can you share a little bit more about that?
Oh, definitely. One of the interesting things as I got to a place in my life where I had a few wake-up calls, and the one that I finally paid attention to was a divorce. My ex-wife came home one day, said she wasn't happy and wanted to divorce. And through the divorce, which was absolutely terrible for me, it was something that I didn't want. But I realized that all my life there had always been something missing, no matter what I accomplished, no matter what I did. And I decided at that point that it was time for me to figure out what was missing in my life. And with my co-author, Jack Canfield, I had an opportunity to go to one of Jack's events, and during that event, I figured out what was missing in my life, and I figured out it was me. And in understanding that, this was at 48 years old, where I had to start looking for, okay, now that I know that I'm missing, how do I bring me in every aspect of my life? And about a year later, my current wife, Mary, and the other co-founder of Imagine Miracles came into my life. And I had told myself after the divorce that I was going to be open to anything that came my way, because I believed in the law of attraction, and I believed that I was attracting it in my life for some reason. So I was going to be open to it, but I wasn't necessarily going to accept it. If it worked for me, I would accept it. If it didn't work for me, I would just let it go. I would release it.
Yeah.
Well, when Mary came into my life, she started talking spirituality in a way that I had never heard it. I grew up Catholic, 12 years of Catholic school. I believed in God. I believed in praying. I believed in love. But when Mary started talking spirituality in ways of, we came here for a reason. There's an energy that we put out. We should all love one another because we are one another. All of those concepts was really pushing the limits for me. And what I did, Melissa, was I started going to the science books, learning about quantum physics, learning about energy, in more ways than not, just to prove that I was right in the way that I was feeling. And the deeper I got and the more Mary shared, the more I realized that science and spirituality really go hand in hand. And the scientists are even opening up to that, and our spiritual leaders are opening up to the fact that science and spirituality goes hand in hand. So when we want to talk about the law of attraction, how do we attract into our life? Well, one of the best ways to do it is to understand how energy truly works. Understand how we do attract into our lives what we're putting out there. Understanding when we use the law of attraction in a way and don't understand why we didn't get exactly what we wanted, why it didn't happen. First of all, what energy were we actually putting out there? But then what energy is the non-physical part of us putting out there? Because the non-physical part of us is trying to get us to live the reason that we came to Earth, to live our what we call divine intent, which is your mission, your purpose. And if we're not aligned with that, then we're going to be off just a little bit, or maybe we're going to be off a lot. And, a lot of the entrepreneurs I work with, if business isn't exactly the way that you want it to be, and things aren't happening the way you think they should, it's not the outside world that's creating that. It's you're out of an alignment somewhere with you. So let's find out where you're out of alignment, and then use what we know about quantum physics, use what we learn about universal laws to then really, first of all, discover what it is that you want so you are in alignment, and then how to manifest that into your life.
Yes. Oh, I love what you just said. And it's so true about, it's really our energy that is what is attracting our vibration. Where we're vibrating is where we're doing our attracting. So as far as like the postcards go, I love having people get into the energetic space of creating a postcard because it becomes playful, fun, light, and joyful. So that brings up the vibration, right? So that's really the way that I like to use the postcards, just as a tool. But the truth of the matter is, you can create postcards all day, every day. But if every day you're feeling you don't deserve something, you're not taking care of yourself, you don't like yourself, it's not going to work for you. You have to find out what it is that you want. You have to know that you deserve to have what you want, because a lot of people don't think they deserve it, or they don't think they're at that level. I mean, as simple as the kind of car you drive. If you want to drive a top of the line Mercedes, you got to believe you deserve to drive a top of the line Mercedes, right? Or it's not coming your way. It just isn't. That's just the way that it works. And it's just our energy. So I like the way you talk about how science with quantum physics is actual mathematical proof about how the law of attraction works, right? Did I say that right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Which I love. I mean, the universe is an intelligent being, if you want to call it. I call it a being because that's what it is to me, but whatever you're comfortable with. And it really is all science. So, and we were created out of love, which I believe, and I don't think we're meant to be on earth to suffer for our whole lives. I just don't.
One of the things that I feel about that is, if you're familiar with Abraham Hicks, Abraham shares this, that, there are the lower vibrational times, and we really have to understand the lower vibrational times, first of all, to know what we don't want, so then we can put the energy out there for what we do want. But then also through all of that, these lower vibrational times bring some very, very powerful gifts for us. When we're in that lower vibration, we learn what it feels like to not be loved. We learn what it feels like to be maybe discriminated against. And all of those things that we learn during those lower vibrational times are actually preparing us to live that divine intent, that the reason that we're here. So one of the things that I like to do with people as we work with them, and as we try to uncover the answers to what do I have to offer, is to really look at those times in your life where you thought, first of all, that you might have been a victim, or life was against you, or the universe wasn't in your favor, and to find what you learned from that, or what gift you developed from that. And now all of a sudden you're raising the vibration of that experience or that circumstance in the past because you found a gift in it. And now you're changing the past. And as soon as you change the past, you immediately change the present. So I think it's so powerful when we can realize that these lower vibrational times have some very big gifts from us. And then as an energy, we came here to expand God. We came here to expand universal energy and to expand the stream of energy that we brought into the world. We have to experience the lowest vibrations of it and the highest vibrations of it so we can expand it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very familiar with Abraham Hicks, and I like how they talk about the contrast, the being, shooting your arrow from that lower vibration to where you want to go in the contrast. And the thing is many people get stuck in the victimhood, let's just say victimhood. So yes, that's true. The experiences that they had may have been horribly painful, and they were victimized, right? That is correct. But it's, do you want to stay in that place, which is where we don't want to stay. We don't want to stay in that place of pain and victimhood.
And I want to really push the envelope on that even a little bit further. If quantum physics and spirituality tells us that we're the creators of our reality, then okay, why did we create that? What came from it? What energy were we putting out there? What belief might be the belief that we need to go back in and look at and change to something that's more empowering? Because our beliefs really are the foundation of where our perceptions from life comes from. And what reality is really nothing more than our perception of what happened. So if you can change the belief of first of all that you can even be a victim in this universe, if you can change that belief, now when a similar circumstance comes up, your perception of that isn't going to be that you're out of control and something's happening to you. You actually can come from a space of, wow, I created this. Well, let's figure out why I created it. What energy am I putting out there? What gift is going to come of it? And now, just in that shift, we keep ourselves out of the lowest vibrational emotions like fear, despair, anger, rage. We can keep ourselves out of that lower vibration, and now the creations that we have even after the fact of some of these circumstances are going to be more supportive of us, and we're going to be in higher vibration.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that, because I have toss that thought around, and if we're the creators of our reality, and then something horrible happens to me, then I created that reality, right? And some people just can't take that, because it sounds like you're saying, I wanted this, it sounds like you were, I don't know what the right way to say it. Not that you were asking for it. I don't want to say that. It's not a conscious thing. You're not consciously asking to have terribly horrible things and painful things happen to you. But if you believe that you are the creator of your reality and that you created something, you have to go deeper. It's very deep work what you're talking about. And a lot of people have a hard time grasping that, especially when the horrible things happen to children. People say, like, I don't understand that. That makes no sense. Why would that happen? And so it's more complicated. I believe it's much more layered. And personally, I believe in that we've lived many lifetimes, and sometimes we choose our lessons when we're coming through in a specific life. So there are certain things that we must go through. That's my personal belief. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll share with you that I do believe that we're creators of all our reality from the work I've done, and I channel a group called the Round Table that's very similar to Abraham, and They have a message about how special and unique each and every one of us are. And when we can believe that we are special and unique, and we can find what we have to offer that no one else in the world has to offer, it takes us out of that place where we have been disempowered, and we've allowed ourselves to be disempowered, and we've given our power away in so many ways that it's easy to go to that space of being a victim. And I agree with you. This is tough work, but once you open yourself up to it, it gets easier and easier. And the collective as a whole, if you look at the governments of the world right now and the vibration that they're in, the government of our country, they, in a lot of ways, want us to be victims.
I agree.
Because if we are and we allow ourselves to be victims, then we believe that somebody else has control over how our life shows up, and we kind of give away any understanding and any possibility of us truly creating what it is that we want.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I'm glad you brought up the channeling and the roundtable, because I was listening to some videos today getting ready for the show, and I really want to talk about that because I found it so fascinating. So I don't want to start at this minute because we're just coming up to our second break. So I want to take our break here, and then we can really dive into your channeling the roundtable and what we can, the I am energy. So I want to talk about that. So please stay tuned. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Imagine yourself being transported to India, to the banks of the Ganga and an ashram in Rishikesh. Visualize that you are welcome to satsang with an American sannyasi who shares the wisdom of her guru. Your visualization has manifested. Join Sattvi Bhagawati Saraswati for inspiration and transformation every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Hi, I'm Melisa Caprio from Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave. Do you believe in magic? What if I told you all you had to do was get a little creative and work a dream spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Well, guess what? I've got the spell for you. Postcards to the Universe, a global movement for manifestation, is a casting magical tool for you to use whenever you want. How does living in passion sound to you? Join me in my movement where you get to create in the magical playground. Let's think outside the box and do some playful conjuring. By casting out our desires with a manifesting postcard, we explore our hearts and allow the alchemy of our dreams to appear. And don't forget to tune in each week here on OMTimes Radio with my show, Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I share tips on creativity, abundance, and prosperity, and you will be introduced to the coolest guests, trailblazers, mystics, and creatives who enrich our lives.
Coping-19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
If you're feeling increasingly lonely right now, you're not alone. It's totally normal. Even though we may not be able to get together in person, connecting virtually with friends and family still gives you a chance to interact with people and may help raise your spirits. Join a virtual book club, set up group text chats, or online video coffee breaks with coworkers.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
Welcome back. So, Vince, I found it really fascinating, which I didn't know actually until recently, that you were a channel. So, can you talk a little bit about that in the roundtable?
Well, I found it very interesting myself, Melissa.
I bet you did.
If you don't mind, I'd like to give a little background.
Yes, absolutely. Please.
Well, as I said, when Mary came into my life and was talking spirituality, there was a lot of stuff that I was extremely resistant to. And during one instance, I was going to an event that was called Illumination Intensive. And during that event, for 5 days, 18 hours a day, all you did was answer the question, "Tell me who you are." And it was a pretty profound thing for me. It was very, believe it or not, very basic training like. We were tired. The resistance was knocked down from being tired and being in that repetition all the time. And during that event, just before I went, Mary told me about this little blonde girl that was described to her once in her life, and she gave me the specifics about this little blonde girl, what she looked like, what she was wearing, and everything. And it was kind of strange. And when I showed up at this event, 5 times during that event, somebody said to me something about that little blonde girl. And a couple of them even described exactly what she was wearing. And I think this was the universe's and Mary's way of getting my attention to, there's something going on here, Vince. So when I went back home after that event, I asked Mary about this little blonde girl, and she said she was told about the little blonde girl during a channeling. Well, I didn't know what a channeling was, and she described it a little bit, and I thought, okay, a crystal ball reader or tarot card reader. And she said, no, not necessarily like that, but this is how the information came down. So like I shared with you earlier, I had made a decision in my life that I'd try anything. So I told her, I want a channeling. And it was like, oh, are you sure you want a channeling? And I said, yes, I want a channeling. So I don't want to tell the whole story because it takes a while. Matter of fact, it's going to be in the book that we're releasing mid-year 2022. But what happened was she set this channeling up. I went to the channeling. Through the whole channeling, I'll admit, I tried to prove this person who was letting this energy come through wrong, trying to prove why Mary might have told her this information. That's the only way she got it. On and on through that. And in my first channeling that I had with the lady who her name was Aloria, Archangel Michael came in first and talked to me for about 45 minutes about, you're here to open hearts, young man. This is what you need to do. And through all of it, I was able to justify. And then Archangel Raphael came in, Melissa. And when Raphael came in, he told me that you're here to open hearts, but you have to open yours first, and I'm going to do it. And it was like, okay, I gotcha. Okay. And he said, I'm going to do it with red-haired, blue-eyed people. And I was like, okay, well, Mary knows that there's red-haired, blue-eyed people that just came into my life. So justify.
Yeah, right.
A matter of fact, Mary's oldest is red-haired, blue-eyed.
Right.
And, but then Raphael said to me, and this is when I started to believe, and there was no way I could not believe anymore. He said to me, as an example, do you remember walking through Walmart last week, and this little boy stood up in his stroller and was watching you, and he wouldn't take his eyes off of you, and as you walked by, he fell out of his stroller, and his mom caught him before he hit the floor. And it was like, okay, yeah, I know that story. The mom knows the story. The little boy knows the story. But I told no one.
Nobody.
So there was no way that channel could know. And Raphael said he had red hair and blue eyes. And as soon as the channel that came out of the channel's mouth, I saw that boy exactly, and he had the brightest blue eyes, and he had red hair, and it was like, holy cow, I need to pay attention to this. You know, and here I'm a college sports player, a military officer,
very veteran,
you know,
right?
all of these things, and now this is happening to me, and a Catholic.
And a Catholic, I understand.
You know, and I heard this, and it was like, okay, I have got to pay attention. Well, before that channeling was over, I was told that you're going to start bringing this information to the world. You're going to start helping and opening hearts. You're going to help people find out why they're really here. And we're going to come to you, and we're going to share the information that you're going to put in your programs.
Well, they're called the Round Table. Yes, is that what they call themselves?
At that point, they were just those energies.
Jeez. Okay.
And so so Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Ra, the sun god, and a red energy that I didn't know who it was at the time, but they said it was a feminine energy. So that's what happened, Melissa. Every single night, I would be awakened in the middle of the night, and they told me to just close my eyes and look up when I was awakened, and I would see the color of the energy that was giving me the information. So that happened for quite a while. And one night, Mary said to me, Vince, you have got to stop this. You're an airline pilot. You're flying all-night flights, and you're waking up in the night getting 2 hours or 3 hours of information. This isn't going to work. Would you be interested in trying to let the energy come through you during the day so I could take notes, and then you'd be able to sleep at night? Well, it took Mary a year to convince me to even try, but what happened was I got to a point where, you know, I don't want to be dangerous. I don't want to affect anybody's life. So I said, okay, I'll give it a try. And it was difficult. A lot of energy came through. I choked and hacked. But after a while, it got better and better and better, easier and easier. But I refused to do any channeling for anyone because I didn't want anybody to look at me and think there was something wrong with me, or I needed to be in a hospital or anything like that. And then Mary convinced me to channel for somebody in the family. And before that channeling, the night before that channeling, the round table came in, the group came in and said, look, you're going to open up, you're going to start channeling for other people. We want you to be a part of that. We're going to bring in all the energies, and the person that you're channeling for will be their energy stream. Their higher self will be there, and we want them to know that we're the same energy stream as them, and we're all equals. So we want to use the terminology round table, like King Arthur's round table, so everybody knows when they're sitting down with their guides, their energy stream, that we're all equal, trying to accomplish the same divine intent.
Wow, that's so fascinating. Yeah, I'm very familiar with channeling. I don't channel, but I have become friends, very good friends, with a gentleman named Gregory Passman, Reverend Gregory Passman, and he is on my show every 4 to 6 weeks, and he does live channeling on my show, and I've had private sessions with him, which have been amazing, just amazing. And Archangel Michael has come through, Kuan Yin has come through, so it's very fascinating channeling to me that you can move yourself aside to allow the channel to come through. So do you do private channelings? I know on your YouTube channel you guys do a monthly channeling so that people can listen to the message for the month. I saw that, but do you do private channeling?
I do private channeling. Yes, that information's available on the website. In the private channelings, the interesting thing is the difference between the round table and Abraham is, one, the message is a bit different, as if you've listened, and like you said you did, you know the message is a bit different. But then also all the information that they share and their message and what they're trying to help people do is in alignment with all the things that I learned through getting these downloads at night. So we put our programs together to match the channelings. So if the roundtable tells you, you're here to, we had in one channeling, the roundtable said that, told this person, you're here to help people meld their mind with their heart. And, what does that mean? Well, that's why we put these programs together to help you uncover, to tap into that guidance, to figure out what that means, so now you can use it as a blueprint to live your life.
Right. Yeah. Talk a little bit about some of the programs that you have, because I'm looking at the time and I'm like, oh my goodness, this time has gone by fast. So share a little bit about the programs that you and Mary are offering.
Well, the biggest ones that we share, that's probably the most important, I believe, Melissa, that each and every one of us made a choice to come into the world. And when we made the choice to come into the world, we knew the difference that we were meant to make. So the first program, we call it Take a Quantum Leap. It's really, first of all, learning how to tap into your guidance. But then once you tap into the guidance, to ask the 5 questions that are so important for you to put your blueprint together. And that Take a Quantum Leap course is based on a formula. It's called the Your Unique Purpose formula. It's really asking the who, what, why, where, and how questions to give you a foundation and give you your path to help you open that up. And then after that, our material is all based on discovering, creating, and living the miracle life, the life that we brought into this world. So the next phase then would be create, and it's how do we use the understandings of quantum physics? How do we use the secrets of the universal laws to create our lives? And then to realize when we're creating from a high vibration. And there's times that we do go in the lower vibrations, and we go in the lower vibrations, these 3D things get in the way. So in that Create program, we also help you understand how to get in touch with your ego personalities, how to not get rid of your egos, because those personalities aren't really going to go anywhere. But how do you start working with them? How do you get them to start trusting you so they don't think you need to be protected? And then we take it even a little bit further then, and how can you take this blueprint that you've learned and truly decide what it is you want, how you want to show up in the world, and then use the information from Create to make that all happen.
Yeah, you have a lot, and you also have your book, Mastering the Art of Success, that you do. I love Jack Canfield, by the way. You did with Jack Canfield, and you have a lot of great content on your Miracle You podcast, which I was on, and your YouTube channel. So, for those listening, if you go to imaginemiracles.com, that website will take you to all of the things that Vince is doing. So you can get a lot more information on there. So before we wrap up, is there anything that, because so many of us are listening to you, have heard these messages. I have a lot of guests that have very similar messages that you do about creating these lives that we desire. And I talk about this all the time, but a lot of people are still struggling. So is there anything you can offer us that could help us with the struggling to bring these things that we want in our lives?
Definitely. First of all, the most important thing is that I believe that we each can find someone to help us on this journey, and there's people with special gifts and talents out there to help you get beyond those fears, to get beyond the doubt. And the most important is when you go looking for that person to walk with you, make sure that they're willing to push you sometimes, make sure they're willing to be in front of you, pulling you sometimes, and they're willing to walk beside you when you need someone to walk beside you. And make sure that they're helping you find your way. There's a lot of people out there teaching you how to do things their way, but find a person to help you learn how to do it your way, because your way is the one that's going to get you there in the straightest line. Your way is the one that's going to help you get in alignment, not just with who you are, but what you want. And then in that alignment, energetically, you're going to attract it into your life so much faster.
That's a great way to wrap up your way, because we're all so unique, right? And that's true. Instead of trying to do it somebody else's way, you got to do it your way. Thank you so much, Vince, for being here with me today. And please, guys, check out the imaginemiracles.com. There's no the, it's imaginemiracles.com. So there's so much information on that. So I really, really appreciate you being here. And I hope this new year for all of us brings us a lot of abundance. It's been a tough couple of years, guys. So thank you for listening to Postcards to the Universe with Melisa, creating the life you crave. And I am wishing everyone a wonderful week filled with joy, abundance, and love. And again, Happy New Year, everyone. I'll see you next week. Peace.